Hello everyone, welcome back. In the previous video we had completed our profile page, and now in this video we are going to create our recent conversations page, which is going to allow us to see the recent chats of the currently logged in user or conversations. So if I open up our design files, I bring them over to screen, you're going to see that this is the page I'm talking about, where we are going to have a list view that is going to show us the different users that an individual is talking to. So without anything for it to do, let's get into it. So the way we're going to start off is that inside of our pages folder, I'm going to create a new file, and we'll call our new page or our new file recent conversations page dot. Once we have this, the next thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to import our material library from Flutter. I'm going to create a class, and this class will be our recent conversations page, and then page, and then we'll extend stateless widget. Once we have that, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to create the build method inside of our recent conversations page class. I'm going to remove the comment, and what we're going to do then is that we're going to return a container. Okay, so that looks good. The next thing we're going to do is that we're going to define two doubles on the top of our class. One is going to store the height of this page, and one is going to store the width. So I'm just going to do final double and then width. Once we have these, the next thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to create the constructor for our recent conversations page. This is going to be this dot underscore height, comma this dot underscore width. Once we have that, I am going to move along to actually creating the UI. So first things first, the first thing we're going to do is that we're going to define the height for our container, which will be the height that gets passed in, and the width for our container, which is also the width that gets passed into our recent conversations page when it's constructed. I'll define the child, and the child is going to be a function, which is going to be conversations, and then conversations list view for now. Once we have that, what we can do is we can add a widget to the function name too, and then we can add the brackets. Once we have the brackets in place, the next thing we're going to do is that we're going to actually create this function. So this function is going to be called conversations list view widget, and then this is going to return some stuff. So what do we want our conversations list view to return? Well, it's going to return a container that is going to have a list inside of it. So we're going to return, and we are going to return a container. This container is going to have some properties. The first will be the height of our container, and the height would be the height that gets passed in, as well as the width, which is the width that gets passed in. Then we are going to define the child for our container, and the child is going to be a list view builder, and I'll come to what a list view builder is. For now, what you can do is you can type in list view and then dot builder, and then you could do the opening and closing brackets. And inside of our builder, we need two things. We need the item count, so item count, which we'll do as 1 for now, and then we'll also need our item builder, and then the item builder is going to get passed in two things. One is going to be our build context, and then it's also going to get passed in the index of our actual item that we are generating. After that, I'm going to add these trailing commas, one here, do Alt Shift F, and then after that, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to rename the list view. So now it's not list view, it's list view, and then do Alt Shift F, Command save. So with that, the next thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to define what each of the children inside of our list view builder is going to look like. Okay, but before we can get started with actually defining what our child inside of our list view is going to look like, what I'm going to do is explain what a list view.builder is. So list view.builder allows us to actually build a list view programmatically from of data or a list of data, and the list view.builder needs two properties defined for it. One is the item count, so how many items is the list view builder going to build, and then the actual item builder, which defines how each child inside of that list view is going to look like. So with that, the next thing we're going to do now is that we're going to return a list tile, and a list tile is a handy dandy pre-built widget that creates tile inside of our list view. So this is each list tile. So now what I'm going to do is that for our list tile, I'm going to define some properties. So firstly, we're going to define the onTap function for our list tile, which is for now going to be empty, and then do Alt-Shift-F. Then what we're going to do is that we are going to define the actual title for our list tile. And for now, I'll set the title to be Hussein. Oh, and the title cannot be, it needs to be a widget. So we'll set a text and then we'll call it Hussein Mustafa. Once we have that, the next thing we are going to do is that we are also going to define the subtitle. And the subtitle for now, I'm just going to set up a new text widget and I'll call this subtitle. Once we have the subtitle defined, we are going to define the leading widget. The leading widget is going to be our actual image. So the leading widget refers to, in the case of a list tile, is the widget before our actual title and our actual subtitle. So this is our leading widget. And in our case, it's going to be an image. So I'm going to return for our leading a container. And what I'm going to do is that I'm going to copy this code in. And the reason I'm going to do this is because this is really simple. All we're going to do is that I'm going to replace this with this. All we're going to do is that we are going to get passed in we are going to define a container with a width of 50, height of 50, and then the image is going to have a decoration image as its background. And then for the network image, what we can do is that we can again copy over an image from Pravatar. And once we are actually pulling data from Firebase, we'll replace this. So for now, what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to copy over an image from Pravatar, and this is the URL that I'm going to use. So i.pravatar.cc and then 150 and then image 3. So once we have that, the next thing we are going to do is that we are going to define the trailing widgets for our list tile. So the trailing widgets, and the trailing widget in this case refers to the widgets that come after our title and subtitle. So these are the widgets. And these trailing widgets, since we require 2 widgets, what we're going to do is that we are going to define a new function. And we are going to call this function our list tile trailing widget. And then we are going to define the trailing widgets inside of here. And then I'll put this function here as our list tile trailing widgets. So what are we going to return? Well, we are going to return a column because we need to have multiple widgets as our list tile trailing widgets. So a column allows us to actually have multiple widgets in a vertical fashion. Then I'm going to define the 3 attributes for our column, which I'm going to copy over since we have done that a lot in this course as of now, which are the main axis alignment, cross axis alignment, and main axis size. So for main axis alignment, it's spaced evenly, main axis size is max, and cross axis alignment, it's n. Once that is done, the next thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to define the children for our column. The first children is going to be a text widget. And for now, I'll set this text widget to last seen. And then what I'm going to do is that I'm going to define the style for our text. And the style for our text is going to be text style. And then inside of here, we'll do font size. And then the font size is going to be 15. And then I'm going to add the trailing comma, do Alt-Shift-F, and do Command Save. Then finally, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to define another widget, and the widget that I'm going to define now after our actual last seen text is going to be this yellow circle. And all this is a container with a background image. So what I'm going to do for now is, for the purposes of not making this video really long, is that I'm going to copy and I'm going to paste this widget. And all this widget is a container with a height of 12, width of 12, and then a box decoration with a color of blue, and then a border radius. And then I'm going to do Alt-Shift-F, Command Save. Once we have this, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to go back to our profile page. Okay, so once we have this, the next thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to go to our home page. At the top, I'm going to actually import our /, and then I'm going to import our recent conversations page. And I do not know why we made this extra file, so just delete this one. And then once we have this recent conversation page, I'm going to do Command Save. I'm going to go down to where we have our tab bar pages. And then I'm going to remove the middle profile page. And instead of that, I'm going to create our recent conversations page. And then I'm going to pass in the height and the width, add the comma, and then I'm going to do Command Save. So with that, you're going to see that our app is going to reload, and now we are going to be displayed with the actual new page that we had created, where we have this list tile with a title, a subtitle, a last seen, and then the circle. So now you may be wondering, how can we display more list tiles? Well, all we have to do right now is, since we're just statically generating our list tile and there's no dynamic data, we can increase our item count to 10, do Alt-Shift-F, Command Save, and now we would have 10 children. So we can scroll through them and do everything like that. So for now, I'll reset it back to 1. I'm going to do Alt-Shift-F, I'm going to do Command Save, I'm going to reload our application just to make sure that the list view still works. So with that, I'm going to end this video here. Now in the next video, what we're going to do is that we're going to link up our auth provider to a recent conversations page. We're going to create the functions that are actually going to pull the recent conversations of a user and then actually display them in this list view. So with that, I'm going to end this video here. I'm going to see you guys in the next one. Peace.